Okay, so I'm just going to recap increasing and decreasing using percentages. So I'm going to do increasing first. Now, when we do increasing, remember it's a bit of a recap of the percentage of a quantity stuff. So if I do an example here and we do increase $60 by 30%. Okay, so if we're doing a percentage increase, remember the first step is always, if we're doing it mentally, so this one here is an example of one that you could do mentally because it's looking at a nice round number of $60 and also a nice percentage of 30%. So remember with percentage of a quantity, we always find 10% first because it is the easiest one to work with. So we look at doing 60 divided by 10, which gives us $6. And then if we're looking at finding 30%, we do times 3 on this side because we need 3 lots of 10% to make 30, which means we have to multiply this by 3 as well, and we get $18. Now, to get that, we haven't actually finished the question. We found the 30%. To do the rest of it, all we have to do is, because it's an increase, we do 60 plus 18 and it gives us $78 as our answer. Okay. The next example, I will do one using a calculator. So the second one could be increase $29 by 11.5%. So this one isn't one that you would be expected to do in your head because we've got 11.5% for a start and 29 is not a nice number. It's never going to give you a nice round answer. So we still have to work out the percentage first. So if we look at doing, we need to find 11.5% of 29. So to do that, remember there's 3 ways. I will show you all 3. So you can do it by doing 11.5 divide 100 times 29. You can do it the way I would normally do it, which is do 0.115 times 29, or you can do 29 divide 100 times 11.5. Whichever way you choose, you should get $3.34 to the nearest cent, because remember with money we only go to 2 decimal places. And then again, we still haven't finished because it says increase. So we do 29 plus $3.34 to give us $32.34 as our final answer. When we do decrease, again, it's the same thing. Okay, so decrease $70 by 20%. We find 10% first. So we do 70 divided by 10, which is 7. And then, of course, to get to 20%, we have to multiply by 2. So we have to do the same to this side here. And that gives us $14. Now, because it's a decrease this time, we're doing takeaway at the end. So 70 take away 14 to give us $56 as our answer. And same again with a calculator question. Decrease 52.5 kilograms by 12%. We would do the 3 ways. I'm just going to show you the way I would do it because you've got it in the previous example. To do it the other way, 0.12 times 52.5, which gives us 6.3 kilos. And then again, remember we have to do 52.5 take 6.3 to give us 46.2 kilos as our answer. Now there is a more efficient way of doing these calculations. So let's look at, for example, increasing 60 metres by 35%. Now, what we're actually looking at there is this is 100%. Okay, 100% is 60 metres because that's our original starting amount. The 35% extra on top of that is the increase. Okay, so at the end, when we get our final answer, we need to have 135% of our original. So it's 135% of 60 metres. Now, the way we do it more efficiently is we look at 135% as a decimal. Now, obviously it's over one whole. So one whole is 1, and then 35% as a decimal is 0.35. So we're doing 1.35, and now remember from the other day I talked about the word of in maths, meaning multiply. So we do 1.3 times 60 to get our answer in one step, which gives us 81 metres. So what we've done there is we've increased it by 35% by finding out 1.35 times 60, because multiplying it by 1 gives us the 60 again, and then of course we're increasing it by 0.35, which is 35%, which is where the 0.35 comes from, and we get 81 metres. So 81 metres is 135% of the original amount, which is what we needed to increase it by 35%. If we then look at a decrease amount, decrease $50 by, let's just do 35% again, keep it the same. So if we're decreasing something by 35%, now we talked about this before, this one here is 100%, and of course the 35 is obviously 35%. So if we're decreasing something, we're taking it away. So if we had 100% and we're removing 35% of it, we are left with 65% of the original. Now that means when we work out this, instead of multiplying by 1 point something, we don't have the 100% anymore. We are trying to make it less, and the only way to make it less is to multiply by 0 point something. Okay, now we need to find, we're left with the 65% of the original, so we're trying to find 65% of 50. And again, to do that, remember the word of means times, so we're going to do 0.65, because that's 65% as a decimal, times 50 to get our answer of $32.50. All right, now again, like I said to you guys, if you don't understand these last two methods that I've done, you can always do finding the percentage and then adding or taking. It's totally fine to do it like that, but there are some of you that will want to do it this way.